big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at lq.com.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
And welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson. Here on this Monday afternoon now as the clock strikes 12. We're happy to be here with you. And a couple things we're going to get to here. First, I want to remind people you can call or text our studio line, 850-623-1330. Anything football in your mind, whether it's XFL, NFL, college, we'd love to hear from you. Coach, I want to start with a couple things here. Another successful XFL Week 2, depending on how you look at it. Some people are negative about it. That's fine. But for me, I was actually impressed. I was impressed with quite a few things. I know we'll get in depth here. But first things first, Coach, we got something coming up for the people here on Mondays and Fridays. I'm going to shoot it over to you.
Yeah, we are. It's good to be with everyone. But we are on Monday and Friday.
Oh, Coach, your mic's messed up right now. Let me try to fix that for you here real quick. No, listen, it's interesting what we got going on here. You know, with the XFL, we'll have a segment here, but I want Coach to tell you more in depth. So I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the XFL, everything, breaking it down from beginning to end here. As you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola. 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo, Reverend Capitano, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Hey, have you heard that ransomware attacks have increased by 500% this year?
Yeah, cybercriminals are targeting all types of businesses, encrypting their data and holding it hostage unless they pay up.
What if we're their next victim?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda to detect, prevent, and recover from ransomware and other advanced threats.
So we're secured?
Absolutely. We'll pay no ransom and keep this business up and running.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
In Santa Rosa County, recycling is important to our county, so make sure you don't trash it. We're keeping it simple and getting back to the basics of recycling. Only recycle clean cardboard, metal or aluminum cans, and plastic bottles or jugs. Education on this subject is key. So remember, when in doubt, throw it out. Get more information and check the full list of recycling do's and don'ts at the Santa Rosa County website or at ecua.fl.gov/green/recycling.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as it gets older, one of the most embarrassing things... My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. So, Coach, now we're back. Got some technical issues here, but I think maybe we're back on track here. Talking about the XFL. Look, we've got a segment coming up on Mondays and Fridays now. I want you to tell us a little bit about what we got.
Well, what we're going to do is devote a significant segment of our Monday and Friday broadcast to the XFL. We should. I mean, it's a hot thing right now. It's very, very popular. It should be. They're playing good football, and it certainly fills a niche that there's a market for. We know that without question. And it's surprisingly better than most thought, to be honest with you. It's not the NFL. Nobody said it was going to be the NFL. In fact, I like what Oliver Luck, the commissioner, said. We're a compliment to the NFL, and they are, because some of those kids will go on and play well in the NFL. And also it gives kids that are cut from the NFL a place to go play and maybe get a shot back at them. So, but it's good football in the meantime, and it's going to get better and better. And you're going to see more and more big-time players. So we're going to devote quite a bit of our Monday segment to the XFL, going over the games that they played the weekend before. And we'll also interview a coach and a player probably in that segment. And then on Friday, we're going to devote another segment to the XFL, quite a bit of that segment to the XFL, and go over the games coming up that particular weekend, do a little prognostication and predict like we know what we're doing, and then also interview a coach and a player or whatever. At that time, and many interesting things going on, which we'll also keep you up to date on, and certainly we'll have Oliver Luck on from time to time. So it should be an interesting segment or two.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. Of course, anytime when you can talk to some of these coaches. We see them, Coach, going back to it again. We see so much with these coaches now where we're hearing all the things that are going on, something we've never seen before in football. And for some things, maybe you don't need to hear, Coach. I'm going to play a clip here for you. And this is something, Coach, I know that aggravated you as well. And let's listen in.
Offense to get something going here.
All right, our internet's messing up here. Coach, we've got so many things messing up right now. Look, talking about it real quick, I'll try to get that clip back up. It's Matt McGloin, Coach, and the things that he said here, it's I don't know if he...
Offense to get something going here.
We need to change the whole entire game plan at halftime.
Okay, what do you need to change about the game plan? What are you frustrated about?
There's just a lot going on right out now. It's embarrassing for us here as an offense, so a lot of things we want to fix and correct.
Thanks.
Wow.
Well, there you go. That's Coach. You're a coach. You've been there. You've coached some of these guys before. This is something where, listen, when we talk about the XFL and what's going on, we're in depth with these guys. What is your opinion on this whole matter?
If I had heard him say that as a coach, he would have never seen the second half. I would have had him put on his civilian clothes, leave his uniform in the locker, and take a hike. That was absolutely one of the worst things I've heard in football. I respect the game too much to even try to soften the blow here. I'm not going to. I'm just telling you, it's bad. That was absolutely terrible. When you throw a whole coaching staff under the bus, second game of the year, on national television, who does he think he is? And I'll tell you, see, that is conduct detrimental to the league, period. Not only the team, the players, the coaches, everybody, to the game itself. That's conduct detrimental to the game of football. That's why I would not allow him to play the game with that type attitude and the unmitigated gall to go on national television and do something like that. I hate to be that adamant about it, but I feel that way, so I might as well say exactly how I feel. Something like that is beyond description, really.
Well, Coach, you've played and you've coached, so you have all the right to bring your opinion to the table here. And I agree. Listen, Coach, I know that a lot of things go on, and we see, in the NFL you don't see this because we don't have the cameras everywhere. We see guys upset, but we never know what's said and things like that. Look, the one thing that this brings to mind to me, Coach, this league is supposed to be a compliment to the NFL. Matt McGloin has been there. He's been in the NFL before. He knows better. People are saying, they're trying to make an excuse for, well, when you put the cameras in front of their face, this is, that things are heated, they're going to say things. There's no excuse for that. It's simply he knows better than that. This is not a rookie. This is a guy that is a grown man. I mean, it's the other thing that I want to put out there, Coach. If this is a guy that's trying to get back into the league, what do you think an NFL team thinks about that? I mean, that's...
Well, absolutely, and they should. And he would have never said that in an NFL setting, I would bet you. But he's probably been on the fringe before, is my guess, and that's why he's not in the league anymore. One reason he's not in the league. The other maybe if he played the way he did that first half, not only was what he said terrible, but how he played was terrible. Just gun shy. It's a terrible first half of football, and but there are reasons why he's not in the league anymore, and he really would not be in that league again and they may have some rules. I hope they do have some rules that control conduct detrimental. That's good, because that can be so devastating to so many people. Think about all the people that put all the money involved in this, the players with their families, coaches with their families, administrators, support people. All those people have families and have an investment in the well-being of this league. And then to let some guy get on there and do what he did, no, you can't have that.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you keep to yourself here, or you look. It doesn't matter. And my thing is, I know the cameras are in their faces and things like that. They still don't have to say anything to that extent. Now, granted, I've never been in that situation. I've been mad before, but I understood that if I said anything negative about my coaches, what could happen to me as well. Not only that, but the look that as a quarterback, this is supposed to be a quarterback league. Now, there's been some good quarterbacks, some surprise quarterbacks in this, and we'll get into that. But for Matt McGloin, he's the leader of this team. The guys know that, and to see him spout off like that, it's just not a good look, especially this early in the season. I know they've had some disappointment, against the Defenders. Of course, they lost 27-0. McGloin was 8 of 19 for 44 yards, and he threw 2 interceptions. So you understand the aggravation there, but there's
the week before he had a good game, and they were
right.
They won a big ball game. So anyway,
Coach, I want to talk about this game though. The DC Defenders. This is a team. Cardale Jones, kind of hoping to revamp his success here and get his opportunity. This is a guy that's a good quarterback. He just has not played a lot. This was his 13th game since high school that he started in. That's crazy to think about that for a guy like that, or played in, I'm sorry. And it's interesting because it's the third-string quarterback from Ohio State that won them that championship as well. This is a guy, Coach, when you look at it, doing a pretty good job. 23 of 37 for 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. This is a big play guy, of course, with the Chargers. Didn't really get his opportunity. When you look at the DC Defenders coaching Cardale Jones, I'll start with Cardale Jones. Is this a guy that, I know it's early, I'm not saying yet, but is this a guy watching what the success he's having now? Does he have some of the intangibles to go play in the NFL one day?
It sure looks that way. I'll tell you, I was impressed with him. Plus, I like the way he threw the football. He ripped it. He had a good spin on it, and seemed to have outstanding accuracy at times. A couple of times he was, off what you might expect, but for the most part, he was on with his accuracy. He certainly had velocity on the ball. I think he could throw it anywhere on the field, throw the deep outs and comebacks that you have to throw in pro football. And he handled himself well. Looked like he kept composure at all times. The rush didn't seem to overwhelm him. I thought he had a good ball game, and he was impressive, yeah.
And when you look at this team, this DC's Defenders team with Pep Hamilton, man, Pep has done a really good job. And when you look at him, Coach, he's had some success before. But as a head coach, this is a guy that is showing a lot of confidence, and this team has a lot of confidence in him as well. When you look at Pep Hamilton, this is a guy, Coach, that I don't know. I mean, I know that let me say this. Coaching in the XFL, you've coached in the World League before. What is the difference when you talk about player-wise, attitudes, things like that? What I'm getting at here is Pep Hamilton, is this a guy that could potentially get himself a head coaching job by having success in the XFL, or is there a tremendous difference when you talk about it?
No, he could absolutely get a head job. He's been in the National Football League. Certainly was one of the most valued offensive coordinators in college football at Stanford at one time. And Andrew Luck, winning the National Football League, and had some success. And he's doing a good job there. Depending on how he ends up and what happens through his first year, maybe 2 years, he could certainly be in line for a head job. And right now, the way that the NFL market is, he's certainly in a good situation at this particular time.
And I tell you what, the DC Defenders look like one of the top 2 teams here. Moving on to the other game, listen, this Tampa Bay Vipers team, according to Caesars, Vegas, of course, the Tampa Bay Vipers were the favorite to win this league. Now, once again, Coach, this goes back to, that means nothing but a hill of beans there. But, boy, this Vipers team, they lost to the Seattle Dragons 17-9. The Tampa Bay Vipers, Mark Trestman and that crew, of course, Aaron Murray was out. When you looked at last week, Aaron Murray was not very good. Taylor Cornelius got the start, was 16 of 27 for 154 yards and 2 interceptions. But, Coach, I think it goes back to more just offensively. I mean, this team they're just bad right now.
Yeah, seem to be lagging up the rear in the offense in that league, and that may be surprising to some because of the reputation that Trustman has as being. At one time, he was considered years ago as a young offensive genius in the league. Goes to show you how much people knew, but he's obviously having some problems with the quarterback situation, for sure. And I think everybody's been surprised at that particular position there. But they also have some problems at the receiver position and all over offensively. They just can't seem to get it done. I know putting a lot of pressure on Jerry Glanville, the guys over on defense, to crank up that grits blitz.
The old famous grits blitz there. Coach, I know you got so many stories, but that is awesome right there. Listen, the Seattle Dragons, though, this is an interesting team. Brandon Silvers, this is a guy who was actually, his hometown's here in Pensacola. A lot of people don't know that. Went to Gulf Shores High School, played at Troy. A guy that he's a good quarterback. He's up and down. I think the league will benefit him a lot just to get the experience he needs. He 7 of 18 for 91 yards. Didn't have to throw a lot, threw a touchdown and an interception. This game against the Vipers was almost an ugly style game when you look at it. The Vipers, not being able to figure out what's going on offense. Of course, the Vipers are rushing the football fairly well. Can't find a way to put it in the end zone. For the Dragons, it's interesting, Coach. By the way, I just want to say this. Their attendance jumped the league's attendance by 10% because they had so many people come out there. When you look at the Seattle Dragons team, there's not a whole lot when you look at it that you go, man, these guys are pretty good. But they found a way to beat the Vipers. This is an interesting team. Keenan Reynolds, which is a story I like, the former Navy quarterback. This guy was awesome. 3 receptions, 87 yards for a touchdown there. Coach, the Seattle Dragons and the Tampa Bay Vipers, when I look at these two teams here, am I wrong to think these could be toward the bottom of the tier of the league just by watching these guys, or is that not fair yet?
I think it may be just a little unfair, JP, at this point, but not too far off. If somebody forced me to rate them right now, I'd probably have to say these two bring up the rear of the league. They certainly are somewhere near the bottom of the league. But it's going to be interesting to see how each team, listen, you could see some major improvement in some of these teams very quickly. And it could be because they get another quarterback, or they get a couple of players that step up and give outstanding leadership, and all of a sudden they're doing some things that you haven't seen them do before. So let's give them 2 or 3 more weeks to get to midseason, see how they are doing at midseason. But right now, you're right. I mean, it looks like these two may be at a little disadvantage.
So is it in a league like this, Coach? Is it fair to say that as we go along, these coaches are figuring these players out, just like the players are kind of finding their role as well? Is that a fair statement?
It is a fair statement.
Okay.
Absolutely fair.
And by the way, the Seattle Dragons, the attendance, they had over 30,000 people there, which is awesome. And Seattle will come out for anything. I mean, you've seen that with the 12 man.
That's great. And like I said, for the most part, all across this league, they're going to see some good football, some good American football. So, put on your thinking hat now a minute. What's the most popular sport in this country?
It's football.
And if you present football, you don't have to present the absolute best product in the world, because the NFL is the only league that can do that. Anything other than the NFL is somewhere short. Now, to what degree short, you be the judge. But it is good football, and you're going to see people enjoy it.
And, Coach, moving on to a team that was interesting, of course, losing to the St. Louis Battlehawks last week. The Dallas Renegades took down the Los Angeles Wildcats and Winston Moss 25-18. This is interesting because, Coach, we finally got to see Landry Jones, who is supposed to be the face. We'll see how that works out of the XFL. Landry Jones was 28 of 40 for 305 yards, threw a touchdown and 2 interceptions. He looked ugly early, and then it seems like he started to figure things out. Of course, takes these teams some time to get, especially like Landry Jones missing last week, being injured with a knee injury. Coach, I think who stole the show was Cameron Artis-Payne, the running back, former Auburn running back, had 14 attempts for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is interesting. When you talk about Hal Mumme in that offense, they've shown the potential. When you look at Landry Jones, of course, Landry was not happy because he said, listen, these guys picked me up today because in the first half, I was terrible, just simply terrible. Coach, this Dallas Renegades team, when I look at it from top to bottom, this is a really good team. This is a team where when we just mentioned, as these guys move along, they're going to get better. This team could be pretty scary, especially when you've got the scariest-looking guy on the sideline, Hal Mumme.
Yeah, Hal could fill that bill. But you got Landry Jones, I think about it, and you hit that right on the head. He had some problems early in the game, but he came on. But keep in mind, he has not played in 3 years. And even the first game he didn't get in to play. Had no training camp. By the second half, you could tell, though, that he is a pro quarterback. Get that ball up high, spinning it out of there, had good velocity, good accuracy on the ball. Early in the first half, he was trusting his arm too much. He tried to put the ball into windows that you just can't fit the ball in there. If you had a bazooka, you couldn't fit one in there. But I think he figured that out, and certainly through halftime, taking the time to think about it. And when he got some people open then the second half, he put the ball on the money. And really, I thought had a very productive second half, and is going to be a quarterback that people are going to have to contend with in numerous ways. You can't just play one coverage against a guy like that because he'll pick you apart. But anyway, he did a good job, and I think he did a good job audibilizing too, because some of those that were called, if I'm not mistaken, passes were called, but maybe they were passes with an audible. But he audibilized to a couple of those runs. So did a great job.
Yeah, Landry Jones, you're right. He did check to a few runs there. Look, Hal Mumme knows this is a guy that's played in the NFL, too. I think he loves – this is going to be a dangerous team, the Renegades. And you're right, Coach. Landry Jones has not played in a while. The one important thing, too, that I thought with him, and especially in the second half, he figured it out, was his pocket presence. I mean, to be able to give him just a half a second longer for that route to open up and guys to come clear, I think that was very important for him. Moving on with the Los Angeles Wildcats, though, Coach, Winston Moss. This is a guy, Winston Moss, he is probably the coolest customer, no matter what situation. I think, and they said, they talk about it a little bit, the players noticed that. This Wildcats team is a good team. It's simply said. They are a really good team. They've got some things to figure out as well. Josh Johnson, the quarterback for him, of course, he's played for 7 different NFL teams, was 18 of 34 for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't play bad. Didn't play great. Nelson Spruce, Coach, the wide receiver for him, this guy, 6 receptions, 89 yards for 2 touchdowns. Of course, a lot of people in the NFL, scouts, have already come out and said, hey, this is a guy we take a look at. This is a pretty utilized guy here.
Spruce should be in the National Football League. There's no question about it. And you're right, but Johnson threw the ball pretty well. I thought I was impressed with the way he did throw the ball. And Winston being so calm and collected, I don't know about that one now. After the first game, he fired his defensive coordinator.
Well, he's calm on the field.
Fired his defensive coordinator and then fired his defensive captain, so got rid of him. So he made an impression there early on.
Yeah, Pepper Johnson said, calm my butt. There ain't no way that guy's calm. Get him in a locker room. No, Coach, moving on to our last game, which I thought was probably the most intriguing game to me. It was a lot of fun. The St. Louis Battlehawks and the Houston Roughnecks. Of course, we didn't know what the Roughnecks were going to be with June Jones, but the Battlehawks lost 24-28. The Battlehawks is a team that was supposed to be the worst team in the XFL. Once again, according to Caesars. This is a fun team to watch. Both these teams are really fun to watch. I'm going to start with the Battlehawks here, Coach. Jordan Teamu, the former Ole Miss quarterback, 30 of 37 for 284 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions really wasn't his fault, but regardless. Coach, This is exactly, in my opinion, when you talk about what this league is about, Jordan Ta'amu is going out there and he is shining in this offense right now.
Well, he is, and even more so than I thought he would, much more. But I'm impressed with the way he's playing. Talk about a cool character right now. He is that, and he again, he throws the ball well, better than I had remembered at Ole Miss.
Yeah, this is a guy. He also rushed for 32 yards and a touchdown. Definitely interesting. Look, this is a guy that, me and Chad have talked about him before. When we saw the quarterbacks of the league, we were like, well, all right, we'll see. We've seen this guy in college before. He was all right. For the Houston Roughnecks coach, P.J. Walker has continued to take the league by storm here. Just how interesting this whole story is with him. Former Temple quarterback. I think they utilize him perfectly with his ability to run. He doesn't want to run, but he can throw the football over the field. Not only that, though, this team has so many weapons. I mean, I still think, when I think of Sammy Coates, a former Auburn wide receiver there, phenomenal, but he just can't hang on to the football. We saw him drop a few balls here. Guys like Cam Phillips, Coach Cam Phillips, had 3 touchdowns in this game. He had 8 receptions for 63 yards and made some really good catches. But P.J. Walker, Coach, when I look at this is a guy that I think will get his opportunity in the NFL. I'm not going to say as a starter, but to work his way back in, because with that offensive system right now with June Jones and those guys, man, they are fun to watch.
Yeah, well, that's the run and shoot, the old run and shoot, and people have enjoyed that from day one when it came into the league. Certainly in college, it was perfected in college, and then came into the National Football League in Houston with in fact, June Jones was, I think, a player at the time. But anyway, it's fun to watch. People do have a tendency to catch up with it defensively after a while. It's based on timing and spot throws and some things that are a little beyond the pale, but not too far away from some of the West Coast ideas too, are a mixture of run and shoot and traditional passing games. So, but it's interesting to watch, and it will be interesting to see how they continue to perform throughout the season. I think you're going to see defenses start to give them more problems, certainly by midseason.
So, Coach, before we go to break, my last question is, when you look at the teams, and we've seen them for 2 weeks, I know it's still early, but who is, in your mind, right now, the most complete-looking team out there?
I think Dallas with Landry Jones, I would say, and you can't take anything away from June Jones and that crew. I'm telling you, they're playing very, very well. They're putting points on the board, and if you can do that, especially in a new league, I know what I'm talking about. If you can put points on the board, you got a heck of a chance to win, because points are hard to come by right now, and that should be expected, because it takes time to develop continuity, certainly with an offense. Easier to do it with a defense than offensively. And every team there's been no preseason training camp with hitting or practice games or anything like that. And to see them come along and do what they're doing is rather impressive, not having that to build on. But so what they will build on are these first 3 or 4 or 5 games. And then by midseason, you'll see some things really pan out as to who is doing what and how effectively they're doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what turns in with Dallas, because we saw them kind of start to click there in the second half. But listen, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to break down some NFL news, maybe some free agency. Got some rumors going around here. Phillip Rivers to the Colts? Well, we'll see. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 991 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
America is a great big country.
Filled with all kinds of different people.
Young,
Old,
city people,
country folk,
and everything in between.
and every one of us matters.
So we all should count, right?
That's why the 2020 census
wants to make sure we're all counted.
Why is it so important?
Because the census helps inform how hundreds of billions of dollars will be spent each year for things like
New roads, health clinics.
Even more school programs.
It also decides your state's congressional representation.
It's just too important to miss.
So be counted and make sure.
Your neighborhood counts.
your family counts.
Take the 2020 census.
Take the 2020 census.
Come on, take the 2020 census.
And make sure you count.
Shape your future. Start here. Learn more at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Time for an oil change? Don't sweat it. We've got the deals to help you get even more out of that tax return. And get ready to take care of that oil change. Like 5 quarts of STP high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $22.99. And next time, you can get what you need even faster. Just order online at AutoZone.com with our free same-day store pickup. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. Coach, a lot to talk about. We broke down a little bit of the XFL. Of course, we'll be doing our analysis for this upcoming week on Friday. And we'll talk a little bit of mix in some XFL here and there moving forward. One thing I want to get to, Coach, this came out today. The Dolphins have said that they are nowhere near close to committing to Tua, obvious. And they have an increasingly positive view now of Justin Herbert after watching the film and the breakdown and everything. Does that really surprise you?
Oh no, not at all. You're gonna hear everything you can imagine especially from those teams in the top 5, 6, with the top 5 or 6 draft picks, because they're going to be the targets. And yeah, I'm sure they would like to get Tua and Justin Herbert both so hot that other teams would be coming after him. Maybe 2 teams now would come after him with an unbelievable offer. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because they've got both of them so high. But I'm not surprised at that. And Justin Herbert, from everything we've heard and from what we've seen, I don't, just based on what I've seen, I can't wait for the combine.
Right.
But from what I've seen, he may be a step, in my opinion, behind Tua. But nevertheless, that's not going to make him less valuable, because he is going to be a valuable asset. as we know, a lot of people said if he came out last year, he would have been the first pick in the draft if he had opted to come out rather than stay in school. So you got to take that into consideration. And he is thought highly of by the National Football League. And I think everything he's done in the last 2 months, at least a month and a half, has only made his stock go up, not down. So I look at it that way, and I think that, again, quarterbacks are so valuable, JP, that you're going to hear. There's no telling what you might hear, because if somebody says, hey, we got to have that quarterback, that's our future. That's our future as a franchise, as a team. We got to go get him. So you'd be surprised what they might be willing to do to go get the quarterback.
This is something, Coach, and the free agency, once again, it's going to continue to rule this offseason because there's so many big names. We haven't had an offseason like this in a while. Peter King, he led his Monday morning quarterback, and Peter King is a valued guy. But a lot of people, when you look at him, they respect the comments that he makes as well. He came out with where he kind of thought the quarterback dominoes were going to fall here. And it's interesting. Look, he thinks Tom Brady, we'll go through this real quick, Coach. Tom Brady back to New England. Well, I tell you, Coach, there's some things you've made a very good point on with, in order for that to happen, it's not money. The money's not an issue here. Yeah. It's the pieces they're going to have to bring. They can't just snap their fingers and make it happen.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about Brady here as we go on. So finish up there with where you're going, because it's interesting.
Yeah, it's I want to try a couple of these other guys. Of course, Drew Brees going back to New Orleans. Taysom Hill will be back with New Orleans. He thinks Teddy Bridgewater is going to leave and head to Tampa Bay. Phillip Rivers, and Coach, this has come out a little bit more now, to Indianapolis with the Colts. Now, I know that was also a spot for Brady. There's a lot of spots for Brady when you look at it. Also, Dallas. Ryan Tannehill will go back with Tennessee. Cam Newton, possibly to the Chargers. Of course, Joe Burrow, we heard this as well with the Cincinnati, them not drafting Burrow. Well, I think everybody kind of knows he's probably going to go to Cincinnati. Tua, he thinks he's going to get drafted by Miami. He said, but watch out for the Chargers, as they may trade up for that pick. We're interested to see there.
Watch out for anybody that has enough equity there. They may trade up for him. I'd say anybody, virtually anybody that needs a quarterback.
And then Jameis Winston to Chicago, battling Trubisky. That's interesting right there. That would be interesting to see Jameis Winston go to Chicago. So, Coach,
would be.
Going back to Tom Brady real quick, I know we've mentioned this before, but I think it's important. The offensive line issues, the wide receiver issues, not like they just need to go grab one wide receiver and this whole thing is fixed here. Their offensive line has problems as well. And I want to believe he's going to go back to the Patriots. I really do. It's hard for me to see him anywhere else, but that doesn't mean anything at this point. And, Coach, you've brought up Dallas. And those Dallas rumors, they are heating up. And the longer this goes on with Dak Prescott, and the longer that he does not get signed, it almost seems like this is swaying to what you've been talking about of Brady to the Cowboys.
It could happen. We're not going to say, and I want to repeat this, they're disclaimers, but we are not saying this is going to happen. We are saying it is a prognosis, if you will. It's a possibility. It's a conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it. But if you really look at the lay of the land, Brady wants more than anything else to prove that he is not over the hump, can still win a Super Bowl. Jerry Jones wants more than anything else, a lot more than signing Dak Prescott. Now, you can take this one to the bank. If he had his choice between signing Dak Prescott and having a better chance to win a Super Bowl, he's going to take the Super Bowl chance every time. They have a good football team around. They have a good offensive line, which is very important for him. They have some weapons. They have a good run game, and they have an outstanding receiver, and will add another receiver, I'm sure, and another tight end. I think they'll add those two pieces with him. And then defensively, they're not a bad defense. The better they play offensively, the better they're going to be defensively. So they would have a shot. You can't rule that out. You cannot rule that possibility out. Just say, no, he's not going anywhere except back to New England. He very well could go back to New England. But I think they're going to have to put some pieces there. I don't think he's going to go back under what he considers a reoccurrence of this past year. I don't think he will do that. That's just my opinion. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had this problem to begin with. It would have just been another re-up and go on with business as usual. Where you've got to include at least thinking about the Colts is you have to put these thoughts together. They have a good young offensive line, one of the best in the league. They have two of the best offensive linemen in the league that are both very young. Okay, and they have one outstanding receiver in Y.A. Hilton. They have a couple of younger receivers, but I'm certain will draft to increase the talent around him. They have a decent running game. Have a decent defense. They need to hone up their defense one more. They play in a dome, so you're going to get at least half of your games are going to be in a dome. How's that compared to half of them being outside in Foxborough? You don't know what's going to happen there. And they would have Frank Reich as the coach, who's a former quarterback in the league, who is very well liked and respected by every player in the league. And certainly Brady would evaluate everything about that football team. And one of the pluses he would come out of there with is Frank Reich being the head coach there. Now, put all those pieces together, and do you think do the Colts have a chance? Yeah, they have a chance to win. I don't think as good a chance as the Cowboys right now, but they're not too far out of that same realm. So I think they have a chance, and I think it's certainly one that he would take a look at. And we could go on and on about going back to New England. I think everybody realizes that to go back to New England, they're going to have to, some way, somehow, show him that they're going to get some pieces back for him, talent-wise, and also up front. And they've got a lot of defensive players now that are up for re-enlistment. So you got to be careful about what he might be stepping back into.
Yeah, it's very true. And, Coach, talking about the Colts real quick, Melvin Gordon came out, and they were asking about Phillip Rivers and kind of where he was signed, just generally. And, it's always interesting with speculation here. He thought the Colts would be the place where he would sign. Nick Sirianni used to be a offensive assistant with the Chargers. Has a really good, friendship with both these guys, actually. Said he runs a similar, now he's the offensive coordinator for the Colts, but he runs a similar playbook. So he believes with the playbook and then the relationship they have as well, this is where he saw Phillip Rivers going there. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a general statement. But I think it's a good one. I think regardless here, it would be interesting to see Brady anywhere at this point. I know that with Brady, when you talk about that, I think he's a really good fit for the Colts. I don't know if the Colts can get it done or not. It would be interesting. But we do know it looks like Jacoby Brissett is going to be let go. Like they're just going to let him walk.
Well, he's a good backup, and he would continue to be the backup. And there are two things here to realize. Rivers is legitimately a possibility at Indianapolis. And especially when you keep in mind that Frank Reich coached him out in San Diego at one point as an assistant coach. The other thing that I might make a note of here, we're talking about quarterbacks. I heard a former general manager say on ESPN television this AM that he thought that a negative on Joe Burrow was because he looked a little slim and thin in his lower body. and those quarterbacks tend to get hurt. Listen, if that's the only thing you could come up with for a negative, you better go. I know why you're on television and not with a team.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
That's a real stretch. You're stretching for something there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's better to say nothing at all than to say something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. That is crazy. I didn't hear that, Coach. Listen, we're up against a break. When we come back, we've got a couple NFL things to break down here and some college news for you. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 991 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
What's up, Chad here from the Sports Drive? Well, hoops into full swing. Let's walk down memory lane. Like when Bob Costas called Michael Jordan's wife his mom.
Michael, surrounded by his mom, his wife. That wasn't fair, but I'm covered with champagne I can hardly see.
Yikes. Or Magic Johnson working with his business partner, Rob Pelinka. Best friends.
I wasn't having fun coming to work anymore, especially when I got to work beside you, knowing that you want my position.
And this coach so proud of his team.
Came down the offensive rebound. They got every offensive rebound, and we didn't get one of them. What else do you want to know?
Sports Drive, 5 to 7 on ESPN Pensacola.
Here's a life hack you won't find in any podcast. The fuel you put in your engine matters. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered with 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So, be sure to subscribe to Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought in engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best 4G LTE networks, same as the big carriers, but just for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G, saving you up to half the cost of the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, half the cost. Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Saturdays are live and local on Sports Call with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick.
The Astros are a joke.
The MLB is a joke as well.
The MLB, they don't know how to handle this.
Exactly.
They don't know how to handle this, so how do they handle it? Terribly.
You can't handle P. Bros that way and then handle these Astro players this way. It doesn't add up.
It's sports talk with a lot of chill. Every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. This is Northwest Florida's all sports, all the time station. From Destin to New Orleans, sports fans come here for ESPN and local sports talk. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. Coach, our last segment here, we've got a few minutes. I want to talk about something that I just read here. It's interesting. This is an interesting take in you coaching, and you've been there. You've been one of these players here. Mike Florio came out and said it's time for top prospects to get paid for attending the scouting combine. Coach, we've talked about this with paying college players and things like this, but he said, listen, they're trying to maximize their revenue. The NFL is for this whole scouting combine. The potential to move to L.A. They're going to sell tickets to this eventually, things like that. But he believes the players have just been doing this just because it's what they've always done, and they have no real say because they're not in the NFL yet. Coach, paying these players to show up at the combine, I understand the afterthought of this, but this seems to become such a recurring theme. I disagree with this.
Well, Mike didn't have very much to write about, did he? My
No.
gosh,
it's interesting.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, it may be interesting. It may be interesting because it's so wild. But listen, that's crazy. One, the cost of doing that would be. Now they've got money to do it if they wanted to do that, but the reason that it's in Indianapolis is very easy to understand. And when I was involved in it, there were 3 different combines. And they combined all that into one, which they should have because players at that point had to get ready to do the same things in 3 different combines. One with ours in Seattle, we had 4 teams. Indianapolis, and the other was, I think, down south, maybe New Orleans or somewhere, I don't know. But anyway, there were 3 different combines. They had to do the same, go do this. Crazy. And it put too much of a stress on them, on the players. So it's in Indianapolis because it's centrally located in the country, easy to get to for especially all those kids who might have trouble getting to other places. And the NFL pays for them, their flights and that type thing to get in there. But some players, it's still there's still a problem getting into and out of, and the logistics of being in a L.A. or New York or whatever, as compared to being in Indianapolis. It's rather simple there. Number 2, they have a dome so that whatever the weather is, they're going to be able to carry on the combine and no problem. And the third thing is that it really kind of is supposed to tune out all of the noise and let the kids go out there and just do their best under the drills that they are asked to do, and sort of tune the noise out. So I don't see that Mike's got a very good point.
Yeah, and Coach, I mean, I agree here. It's interesting. I mean, they're saying that they're going to sell 70,000 tickets. They're going to pack out the place for the combine. No offense. I mean, I love football just as much as the next person here. I watch the combine. I don't watch it thoroughly, but I watch it. It's one of those things that unless a guy is running a 40 or something like that, I'll do some things around the house, do some yard work, whatever it may be, and I'll keep my eye on it. But to think that you're going to pack out a stadium, I just find that very hard. And for a fan, I can't imagine that you would want to sit there because realistically, the combine, it's actually kind of boring. But that's not supposed to be purely for our entertainment. Not supposed to be like a football game. It's these guys going out and competing and showing the best of what they have here for these scouts and everybody involved there. Just competing against, not even really competing against each other, just competing for themselves to show exactly the skills they have.
Yeah, it was never ever intended for public entertainment or public consumption, really, other than it became interesting and the NFL opened it up to television because television was willing to do it and willing to pay something for it to television. But if he thinks they're going to get even 5,000 people in a stadium to watch it and that be profitable, no way, Jose. That's just not going to happen.
It would be a terrible look for the NFL to do this.
Yeah, it's not going to happen though. I think Mike is
Reaching.
Mike is reaching. He must be on vacation somewhere.
He's waiting on to hear where Brady's going. Until then, he has nothing really to talk about at this point. This is something that I think that, okay, cool. It's one of those articles that you write, but that you put on the back burner there. Or, you know what? You got some clicks because you got my click there. I will say that, Coach. But, Coach, once again, we run out of time here. We have so much more to talk about. Definitely do it tomorrow, but it's been a pleasure, Coach.
You bet. Look forward to it.
Well, you'll have to tune in tomorrow at 12, same time there, for Talk Football with Coach K here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 991 FM.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports